Is there anybody else who would like to address the council? Come on up and state your name and address, and you'll get 5 minutes.
My name is Pamela Paquin. I live at 16 Ellis Road in town. And I have a quick question about the last issue, which is that, is it legal, sir, is it legal for people who have laying hens that lay eggs to bring those eggs? I have some hens, and I'd love to donate eggs. We can't eat all of them. Can you accept those? Fantastic. Good to know. All right, thank you. So I thought I was just here to speak to you tonight about helping the town not to break the Wetlands Act law with the developments going through Gulfwood and Cedar Swamp. It turns out, given Heather's presentation on the roads, I think I might also be here on behalf of many taxpayers who live on roads where there are actually houses to take the funds that would otherwise be allocated to putting a road through a wetland and a FEMA floodplain and diverting that to roads where people actually live. So, let me start. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me. It's obviously very near and dear to my heart. My family's been on that road for a long time, generations. So, when you're talking about the Massachusetts Wetland Act, from what I can read in it, there are several things that you have to consider when you're a Conservation Commission making a decision about whether or not it is an immediate threat to human health and safety. There are 4 things, essentially. So, is there drinking water wells, public or private, that are threatened? And in this case, the answer is no. Are there public utilities that are being flooded or not on? And in this case, the answer is also no. The other question is, are there septic systems being flooded? The answer is no. Are there houses being flooded? The answer is no. Now, that takes me to the issue of whether or not this is an imminent emergency. And I would like to say that this road has been closed for 2 years, so this is not imminent. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe that anybody on the Denfield-Ellis extension ever said that they had an emergency and that their road was not suitable for emergency vehicles until this happened and they tried to reopen the swamp road. Nobody ever complained that they couldn't get service vehicles to their houses until it was tied to Gulfwood Road. So when you read the letter of appeal from the people who would like to see Gulfwood Road opened, they talk about a few things that what they think would constitute an emergency. One of them is speeding vehicles, and that it's dangerous for them, and I quote, to go to their mailboxes or walk their dogs. And the second thing is that, as I just said, the emergency vehicles can't get to their houses fast enough, and it would keep them from getting to the hospital in a timely fashion. So my question is to you, as the town council, to consider how, in one universe, in one plane of reality, can you have cars and trucks that go too fast and emergency vehicles that can't move fast enough? I don't know how that happens, but I don't think that constitutes an immediate threat to human health and safety. So the road, Gulfwood, is flooded. Nobody's driving on it. There is no threat for driving on that road in an unsafe way. So what we look at in the Wetlands Conservation Act is there a viable option? That's one thing that you must consider when you're on the Conservation Commission. And you look at Denfield and Ellis, and as I sent in my appeal letter, it's 0.06 miles longer to take the Denfield-Ellis detour. That's not even 1/10 of a mile. So I want you to just keep that in mind. Secondly, the Charlton section of the road, they've done a brilliant job. It's 20 feet wide on average. It's definitely wide enough for a rural road. I like my neighbors on that side of Ellis. Obviously, I'm on the other side, and we won't even talk about the state of my road, but I'm all right with that because it keeps people going slow. I would love to see improvements if it helps them and it makes them feel better and that it's safe for passing. I know a neighbor of mine, had a brush with somebody else on his mirrors at a narrow point in the road. I'd love to see speed levels kept low, maybe speed bumps, weight limit restrictions, that sort of thing. This is a rural road. And I guess my question really, after hearing Heather's presentation, which was astounding, really, shocking and overwhelming, given the task ahead of you about how to appropriate funds in a reasonable manner, is why, given everything we've just heard from Heather, would we ever put money into a road that has no houses on it? That is through a FEMA floodplain that Charlton is not going to raise in their plans to appropriate Chapter 90 funds, that will continue to flood every time there's a storm. This is prime beaver habitat, and beavers will continue to come back, as I think it was Mike Callahan, the beaver specialist, outlined. All
I
set?
just need to know if we can give her 2 more minutes. Would you like 2 more minutes?
Yes, please.
All those in favor? You may continue.
Thank
It's
you.
unanimous.
So I think really in closing, I just do not see the logic, which is why I've shown up again and again, written my DEP appeal, written to the town manager. I've been received very helpfully. I'm very grateful for the way that you've engaged with me as a concerned tax-paying citizen. But I would advocate that the town council take control of this situation and look at Massachusetts general law immediately, because there is a viable alternative in detour. And that road being used means that you don't have to dump half the budget of fiscal year 2019 into building a road that goes through a floodplain. That was half the budget that was designated for Gulfwood Road. That's from Tory Road, that section there. Sure. Sure. So if you prioritize that road as a throughway and build it through the swamp, then obviously there's going to be more traffic and it will continue to be a priority. And it will continue to be going through a floodplain, which will continue to flood and cost money. So thank you.
Okay. Councilor McKenzie?
Madam Chair, through you, thank you for your presentation. I thought it was well prepared.
Thank you.
There were a lot of points that you made that I liked. The one question that I have is, are there absolutely no houses on that part of Gulfwood Road?
So from where the
In other words,
Southbridge line
would there
is?
be a separation? For example, I know that where it becomes, is it Dedham?
Denfield, yeah.
Oh, Denfield.
The detour house, the detour
Right
has
where the
houses.
detour is. I know that there's a house right down that block.
Are you talking about the Denfield-Ellis
Yeah.
detour? There are
Yeah.
definitely houses on that. Yeah, I ride my
All right,
horses up there all the time.
So the limitation would actually be, it wouldn't be a pass-through, but if cars had to get into their homes, there would be an ending part of that Gulfwood Road. Is that correct? It'd have to be. It'd have to be like a dead end.
I think you're talking about two separate roads. Denfield-Ellis detour is not Gulfwood Road going through the swamp. So those are two separate roads.
No, where it would go straight through, once you get to Denfield, if you didn't make the turn onto Denfield, but you went straight,
Right, okay, I'm with you now.
okay, that's still Gulfwood Road, correct?
Yes, I think so.
All right, there are houses there. That would become a dead end where those houses end. Is that correct?
So between where the barriers lie, on the Southbridge side and the Charlton side, there are no houses. No, that's on Walker Road. That's Walker Road. Walker Road, it's a dirt road, and there are houses on that.
As long as there'd be no, I mean, I understand that it would not be a pass-through, but houses would be able to, they'd be able to get through to their homes.
Oh, yes, yeah, they can absolutely get through to their homes. There's no houses that are being blocked off currently.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a straight drive-through.
I'm not following what you're
Okay, all
saying.
right, this is going to get long. Right now, currently, everyone can get to their home. They just can't get the connection in between.
Thank
They
you.
have to go around.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you
Great
for your
presentation.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Did you have a question officially, Council?
I think we've
Yeah,
got,
1 second. Did
Is
you
it
have a
okay?
question officially, though?
Actually, I think my question is actually more directed at Heather, because I noticed in your presentation you have Ellis on the list. I'm assuming that's that stretch of Ellis going to Denfield, because that's the public side. What exactly, do you have an idea of what it is you were planning to do for that section at this point? Because I know that that's one of the things that came up for example, some of the people living up there are
Right.
concerned about it being narrow. And I remember somebody once, I was at the Conservation Commission meeting, and one of the people, I don't remember who it was, said that they didn't think it would be legal to widen that road, but I didn't understand why that would be.
We would never widen it to be extremely wide, but there are sections of that road that are barely 15 feet wide.
I know, it is narrow,
So we would
no
do, I
question.
mean, the right-of-way is wide enough. It would take some work to remove some ledge along the
Yep.
edge, probably straightening it out, smoothing it out. It needs to be basically full depth, most likely, or a wide overlay with some edging done.
Yeah.
I would say that the money that's put aside for Gulfwood is, there's two pots of money. The section from Gulfwood that would be the detour, no matter what we do, there's $100,000 worth of work that needs to be put in there to put a turnaround in if we're going to keep the road closed, or to put guardrails near the bottom, which is a very small portion of the money, and then redo that section of road. So that road's in deplorable shape. It basically
is. It's terrible.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
And then the other part of Gulfwood Road is from Torrey, where the school goes up, to that detour, is also
It's deplorable, it's terrible. Yeah,
it's in
absolutely.
really, really bad condition. So I understand, but they're to the point where they have to be addressed.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And we have something, come on up. Yep.
I just came up with something while I was drawing pictures of imagination. I was about to say that. If you like the pictures, you can do a check mark, and that's for more help to the beavers for a donation.
See what we can do about saving the beavers.
Yeah, and these guys are gonna see if they like it. I've got a pen if no one has a pen.
We'll do that later. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. That's a future counselor there.